bus in central St. Petersburg. Saturday afternoon stroll in central St. Petersburg. So it's really our first day on the streets, and it's Saturday. We're off the beaten track. Nevsky Avenue, Prospect, they say in Russia, is 5-6 blocks away. We had to go to a bank. We did most of what we needed. There was one type of service that particular branch didn't provide, so they sent us to another branch, and then we're walking back. It's a long walk. Everywhere, eateries. Expensive eateries, moderately priced eateries, cheap eateries, eateries everywhere. We were hungry, and we just stepped in and ate meat with rice and carrots. It's a Central Asian dish called plov with a salad and 2 glasses of tomato juice, and the whole thing cost us $6 for 2 people. Nice service, kind of self-service. It was quite good, and it was unbelievably cheap. Completely off-beaten track. Just average streets. 10-15 blocks of Nevsky Avenue, which is the center or main tourist district. So St. Petersburg is all 18th century architecture, and here they built this business center into the old architecture. My husband is asking if we should go see what's inside. Why not? We can get in, and it's Saturday, so it's empty. The interior, it's kind of decorated in a slightly garish way. Looks a little bit like a shopping mall. Food, really easy to buy. Grocery stores, small to medium size, fairly affordable, and extremely convenient. Also a lot of cosmetic, dentistry, look good kind of, or procedures. And I don't really even know what that is, although I know the city quite well. When you are on crosswalks, cars stop for you very diligently. So suddenly we have church bells. I wonder if there is service inside. Shall we go inside? Why don't we do that? So anything bright, yellow, shiny, yes, golden leaf. church service that I walked into. I was afraid people will object that I am shooting a video, but people were very accommodating. We stepped away and we're just walking home through central St. Petersburg, off the beaten track and off the tourist path. What we have here in St. Petersburg in June is the so-called season of white nights. So it's pretty, at 10 p.m. it's still like daylight, and at 3 a.m. it's already daylight again. And as you can see, it's not awfully hot, but it's summery. So people are wearing light sweaters, and so are we. But it's very far north, and so you get the season of very long days. It's just very average St. Petersburg Central Street. Continuing through the center of St. Petersburg, we are coming to a very interesting area. Right ahead is the so-called Summer Garden. It was founded by Peter the Great, the founder of the city, and it's a place that has a lot of marble statues that Peter imported from Italy. And what is interesting is that it's very cold here in the winter. So in Italy they can be sitting outdoors, but in St. Petersburg they can't. So in the summer they open them, and in the winter they put them in boxes. To the left, this is Michael's castle, to the extent which you can have castle in late 18th century. It was built by Paul I, who was the son of Catherine the Great. Son and mother didn't like each other, but he still inherited the throne when she died, and I think he probably had it built before even then. And it was on that time on all sides surrounded by water. I think they closed off one of the waterways, and he tried to be very safe there, but he was greatly disliked, and so he was strangled right inside of his own castle by his own guards in 1803, if I remember correctly, after it became a military boarding school for a while. And I believe the writer Dostoevsky was a student there in mid-19th century. Next, we're going to see the so-called Mars Fields, place when in 19th century and probably 18th century too, they had military parades. It used to be a plaza. Now it's a garden. So that's the Mars Fields there. Ironwork. It's unique. It's one of a kind. And if you're a connoisseur, you can tell the bridge by its ironwork. So here we are in the Summer Garden. We'll soon see what is considered a masterpiece of ironwork. Ironwork in St. Petersburg, to the best of my knowledge, is one of a kind because there is so much of it, and it's done by the first-rate architects, and it's immensely beautiful. So that's the part with the fountains. Not very many fountains, but that was designed and built in early 1800s, probably about 1710. And I believe Peter the Great actually participated in design, if not designed it. So at that time, the city was a few years old, and to lay something like that out was quite a feat because the city is built on marshland. Stone was hard to come by, in particular marble, and he still wanted to build a garden and did. It's mostly linden trees, and these are the few older linden trees. Most of them now have been replaced. It's nothing as spectacular as we see in Italy. But if you think that the latitude of the city is probably about, I'm guessing, a latitude where the state of Alaska meets Canada, and it's quite a feat to create a garden like that in Russia's climate. This is considered a masterpiece of iron work because of the simplicity and grace. I'm going to guess that it is late 18th century, can go wrong by 20 years. I'm guessing 1770s. St. Petersburg is built in the delta of Neva River. And the interesting thing about this bridge is that I believe it was the first large bridge, meaning a bridge across Neva, and it's a drawbridge, believe it or not. The river it's a very strange river because it's very short. I think it's only 50 kilometers long, and it goes from Ladoga Lake to the Finnish Gulf. It doesn't start as Mississippi or Volga with a small little river that gets bigger and bigger. It starts big, it goes big, and it's very deep. It takes ocean-going vessels, and to allow them to get onto the river, the bridges are open at night. So the embankment of the Neva everywhere is granite. The embankment was constructed during the reign of Catherine the Great in the second half of 18th century. Catherine invested big time into putting all this granite everywhere. So that's the span of the river. It's very wide. No other bridge has this railing. Every old bridge in St. Petersburg is that way. And on the other side, this mosque has been there well over 100 years. Peter and Paul's Fortress, the first structure in St. Petersburg. The city was founded as a military outpost. These lands historically have been going back and forth for centuries, and then they became firmly Russian after Peter the Great finally took them for good, built the fortress, built a large city, and made the city a capital. So I'm continuing on the Revolutionary Square, which I don't know why it's revolutionary. Maybe because the mansion of Ballerina Kshesinskaya to my left on another block, and that for some reason was overtaken by the Bolsheviks. She was a lover, more than one royal, but I suppose after the February Revolution, where the Tsar abdicated, maybe she no longer had any sway and it got overtaken by the Bolsheviks. Kshesinski mansion. Now, that is just a wing of the mansion. If you look at that gate, that's all mansion. Right, the car stopped nicely. Okay, so that is Kshesinski mansion, and it stretches for a whole big section of a block. And the mosque is very centrally located. Russia has very large Muslim population. They obviously followed Samarkand here, and Samarkand, it's even grander. Of course, Samarkand is much earlier during Tamerlane's period, but still beautiful tile work.